G'day everyone, how's it going? My name's Big Pup, and today we're doing some battles in the Open Master League. Today we'll be using a Solgaleo, a Ho-Oh, and a Kyurem in hopes to get some good wins. So without further ado, let's hop into the battles. Hopping into the first match, we have Solgaleo into a Dialga. We don't really mind this matchup, it is advantageous. These Fire Spins are only doing neutral due to their Dragon typing, but we can start ramping up that damage using the Psychic Fangs. Such a great move, and I'm glad Solgaleo received it. In comes Psychic Fangs number 1, it gets no shield, but as you can see, these Fire Spins are starting to dig into that Dialga. In comes the Iron Head, we can safely no shield and get to another Psychic Fangs. Now they're 2 stages debuffed, and these Fire Spins are doing so much damage. They no shield again, actually does a decent chunk of damage to that bulky Dialga, and now we're at a 3rd Psychic Fangs. This should be doing some nice damage to the Dialga, gets them very low, and what are we anticipating here? It's just the Iron Head. We do shield, unfortunately, but down goes Dialga. Now we have switch advantage. They send in Zacian, and we're going to try and sneak through an Iron Head. Can we do it? Come on. It's going to be Psychic Fangs. They believe. We throw the Iron Head, does huge amounts of damage. The Zacian's now going to throw the Play Rough, take us down, and we feel very comfortable to come in with Ho-Oh and start incinerating down. We feel very comfortable in this matchup. We're not really suspecting the Wild Charge. You know, most of running Play Rough in close combat. Yep, Ho-Oh just takes out like an absolute champ. In comes Kyurem, we start Dragon Breathing away, and we feel very comfortable here. We know we can absorb that Shadow Ball. Yeah, we just absorb that. We get to a Glaciate, that should be debuffing them and getting a shield, hopefully. In comes Glaciate, gets a shield and debuffs them. Now these Dragon Breaths are doing even more, they're doing the same amount of damage, but their Shadow Claws are doing even less damage. We get almost win baited, that's unfortunate, but we're going to go for another Dragon Claw and hopefully grab a shield. Let's see if the Giratina shields. They shield. Now we're at an even shield scenario, i.e. none. We farm down the Giratina. Can we get off a move? The trainer backs out. Good game. Hopping into the next one, we have Solgaleo into a Garchomp. Not really a good matchup for us. These Dragon Tails are resisted, however the Sand Tombs and Earth Powers do threaten Solgaleo. We're going to throw the first Psychic Fangs. It should be doing a nice amount of neutral damage. Now their defense has fallen. We are suspecting the Sand Tomb. Yep, it's the Sand Tomb. So we can take that like a champ. We get to another Psychic Fangs. We're going to overfarm though and go for the Iron Head. The plan here is to get Garchomp into the red, and then if it knocks us out with a stronger move, we can come in and farm down. Garchomp's in a nice farm down range now for either Pokemon. It just throws another Sand Tomb. Should only be one more Dragon Tail, and we're going to come in with Ho-Oh and try to farm down. 1, 2, we needed 3 Incinerates. We're only expecting the Sand Tomb here. Just the Sand Tomb. Ho-Oh takes that easily. We get the 3rd Incinerate off, down goes Garchomp, and what can we expect next? It's a Togekiss. We love this matchup. I know the Ancient Powers will do a decent amount of damage, but by the time they get to that Ancient Power, I've probably got a Brave Bird and a Sacred Fire off. We don't unfortunately get the debuff with the Sacred Fire, but now we can just yeet them with the Brave Bird and come in with Kyurem and start farming down. I know they're doing super effective with their charms, but this is still a good decision here, because we can just Dragon Claw away, they actually throw up a shield. We have 2 shields, so we might as well shield this Ancient Power. It still wouldn't have done much damage. It's not a very strong move. They get the boost, but they're forced to switch out into Zarude. This is perfect for us. We're at a shield advantage. We're able to throw the Glaciate. This will do some huge super effective damage, plus the debuff. Now these Dragon Breaths are really digging in. We're just going to no-shield it and come in with Ho-Oh and start building up massive amounts of damage. It actually doesn't KO because of the attack debuff. So we're going to get to a Dragon Claw, and this should be taking out the Zarude. Down goes Zarude. Now we feel safe to switch into Ho-Oh and polish off the match. Good game. Hopping into the next one, we have Solgaleo leading into another Garchomp. This is really unfortunate. It is a losing matchup, and unfortunately, it's the Mudshot version. It'll be getting to these charge moves so much quicker than the Dragon Tail version, and that threatens the Solgaleo hugely. We're able to get off 1 Psychic Fangs. These Fire Spins are actually adding up, and they are resisted. In comes the Fire Blast, so very spicy pick. Well done, sir. We get to the Iron Head. This should be doing some huge damage with their no-shield, and I'm expecting them to no-shield. They no-shield. Now we're in a nice range where we could throw up the second shield. Yeah, we're going to throw up the second shield and farm down. It's just the Outrage. I'm not really sure if that would have KO'd or not. I don't think so. In comes Metagross. We feel pretty comfortable in this matchup. We're going to throw the Psychic Fangs. Does a nice amount of damage. We're just going to start farming away. The real threat here is the fast move, not the charge move. We're at 2 Psychic Fangs now. They're double debuffed. These Fire Spins are doing huge amounts of damage. They really only need to throw the Meteor Mash at this point and farm down, but they decide to throw the Earthquake, just full send it. They send in Kyogre. We're going to respond with our Kyurem, and now we're in a real good position here. There's nothing really Kyogre can do. The Surfs aren't doing much, the Thunder ain't doing much, the Blizzard ain't doing much, our Glaciates aren't doing much, but it allows us to debuff them and just keep Dragon Breathing down. Now we're in a position where we could just go straight for another Glaciate, or we could go for a Dragon Claw and then farm down. We're only expecting a Surf. It'll only do a little chip to the Kyurem. It only tickles it. You know, I didn't really feel that very much. We're going to go for the Glaciate. We're not really going to hit any bubbles. We don't care to hit any bubbles because we want to have a nice farm. We're hoping just to farm all the way down. Unfortunately, they get to another Surf, so our plan didn't quite come to fruition. In comes the Surf. We go down. In comes Ho-Oh. Now we're in a very safe position. Metagross has a very bad matchup against Ho-Oh. The Meteor Mashes do very little damage. The Earthquake's not going to do much. It's a Psychic, so they surprised me, but that's okay. We can absorb that like a champ. Good game. Moseying on to the next match, we have Solgaleo into a Florges. We love this matchup. Either they're running Psychic or the All-Fairy moveset, it doesn't matter. It's not doing any damage to Solgaleo. We feel very comfortable to farm all the way up to the Iron Head and bait with the Psychic Fangs, or just full send with the Iron Head. We're going to build up to about 2 Psychic Fangs, and we're just going to try and bait with the Psychic Fangs. Will we get a shield? We get the shield. Now they're debuff. 2 birds with 1 stone. In comes a Shadow Dragonite, so I love to see a Shadow Dragonite. I love seeing more interesting picks. Our Fire Spins are actually doing a decent amount of damage now that they're debuffed, plus Shadow defense. We're going to throw up a shield, fearing the superpower. It's just a Dragon Claw. We get to another Psychic Fangs. This should be doing a pretty decent amount of damage. Does a decent amount of damage against that Dragonite, alright. Now these Fire Spins are really adding up. We are fearing the superpower, so we're going to shield up again. We just want to have switch advantage. Now we feel pretty comfortable to farm all the way down and leave with a boatload of energy. Can we get a Psychic Fangs off against the next Pokemon? They come back in with Florges. We're going to get that Psychic Fangs off because that Fairy Wind wasn't enough to take us out. Now they're debuffed. They're going to no-shield that. We get to a second Psychic Fangs. Wow, that's so good. Solgaleo is an absolute beast. I'm loving using him. In comes Ho-Oh. We have a very good matchup here. Even if they're running Psychic, it doesn't matter. We're so bulky. It's just the Disarming Voice. Does a nice little chip of damage. We're able to farm all the way down. They come with Mamoswine. It's a bit tricky. That Avalanche and High Horsepower does threaten my backline. But we're able to throw the Sacred Fire, get the debuff. These Incinerates are doing huge amounts of damage. Did we catch the Avalanche? We caught the Avalanche. We're fearing that High Horsepower. Mamoswine is dangerous with that High Horsepower. We're just going to get to the Dragon Claw, do a nice little amount of damage. In comes Dragon Claw. Gets them low into the red, and we're able to farm down. Good game. Moving along, we have Solgaleo into a Togekiss. We love this matchup. Neither of the charge moves really threaten. Obviously, you know, Flamethrower does threaten, but it takes forever to get to. So they make the decision to switch into Machamp. This still isn't the best matchup for them, seeing as these Psychic Fangs would still do devastating damage. Plus, they're getting debuffed every time, so they're going to have to expend their shields, and every time, the situation gets worse and worse for them. They surprised me with the Dynamic Punch. I was not expecting that. Cross Chop all the way. But, unfortunately, they have Dynamic Punch. We get off that second Psychic Fangs. Does a huge amount of damage. I was not expecting that much damage. Down goes Machamp. What's going to come in next? It is a Metagross. So still not the best matchup for them. You know, these Bullet Punches aren't going to cut it. We're going to be able to get off a few more Fire Spins, 1 Psychic Fangs, and we're able to come in with Ho-Oh, and we feel extremely comfortable. They counter with their Togekiss. We feel comfortable. Good game. Moving along, Solgaleo into a Kyogre. Terrible matchup for us. These Surfs and Waterfalls will just do annihilating damage to the Solgaleo. We only have one choice, and that's to just Psychic Fangs away, try and get them as low as possible, and then come in with Kyurem and try and farm down. This Surf should be getting us into the low yellow, early red. Yep, gets us into the low yellow. We're able to get off an Iron Head. So hopefully this does a nice amount of damage to that Kyogre. In comes Iron Head. Actually, it does a decent amount of damage for being a not very effective move. 2 more Fire Spins. In comes Kyurem. And we should be able to farm down. Unfortunately, they get to a Surf, but we don't really fear it. It's not going to do much damage. Only a little tickle to the Kyurem. Comes in Melmetal. This is a very tricky situation. Melmetal has favorable matchups against both of my backline. We throw the Glaciate to debuff them once. We're expecting the Superpower or the Rock Slide. Both are good. Both are super effective. So it's just the Rock Slide. We get to a second Glaciate that should be debuffing the Melmetal twice by now. I'm hoping they don't switch out and reset my debuffs, but we'll see what happens. What's going to happen? In comes the Rock Slide. Down goes Kyurem. In comes Ho-Oh. It's a dagger in the back, so again, unfortunately, it's a losing matchup. We're at a shield, even shield scenario, and that just means these Dragon Rifts are doing way too much damage to the Ho-Oh. We're going to have to shield up that Iron Head to preserve health. We're about 1.5 Sacred Fires. Let's see. They actually let it go. No way. They would have had this game in the bag if they shielded that Sacred Fire. We get to another Sacred Fire. And she'll be doing some nice damage to the Melmetal. Does a nice amount of damage. Gets the debuff. Now our only hope is to incinerate down. I think we have to get off 2 or 3 more Incinerates. This is going to be the Rock Slide. So now it's a race between who can incinerate down and who can get to the Rock Slide. Down goes Melmetal. Good game. Moving along to the next one, we have Solgaleo into Togekiss. So again, a great matchup. That Flamethrower just takes way too long to get to, so they make a quick switch into Giratina. We're going to counter with our Kyurem, and these Dragon Breaths are really giving it to that Giratina. We're only expecting the Ominous Wind or the Shadow Ball. It's the Shadow Ball, but we can absorb that very nicely. And now we're going to throw the first Glaciate. This should be doing some huge super effective damage or getting a shield. Gets a shield, debuffs them. Our Dragon Breaths are just digging in. We're going to shield up this. It's only the Ominous Wind, but that's okay. We want to preserve health from the Kyurem and get to 2 Glaciates, leaving the Giratina twice debuffed. This will be KO and getting a shield. We get the shield, now they're twice debuffed, and we could go for a farm down if we wanted to. We're going to throw up that second shield and go for that cheeky farm down. We don't care, it's the Ominous Wind. Down goes Giratina. Can we get off a move? No, Charm just obliterates us. So we're going to come in with Ho-Oh. We feel very comfortable. They come in with Kyogre. Now we're in a very tricky spot. Kyogre, again, as I said earlier, has a very favorable matchup against both of my Pokemon. Both against Solgaleo and Ho-Oh. So all we can do is absorb these Surfs, start debuffing the Kyogre, and get them as low as possible. We're going to throw a Psychic Fangs. It should be doing a nice amount of damage. Does a nice amount of damage. They're in the yellow. Now all we can hope to do is get to another one, but they waterfall down. So we come with Ho-Oh. We need to absorb this and then get to 2 charge moves. So we're going to have to throw the Brave Bird before too many waterfalls come off on the Ho-Oh. In comes Brave Bird number 1. Now we need to get to another Brave Bird and take out the Togekiss. And it's not going to happen. Good game. Hopping into the next one, Solgaleo into a Terrakion. So very spicy pick to see a Terrakion in the Open Master League. I love seeing that. I am very curious to see how much a Psychic Fangs will do to that fighting type. This is just going to be a Sacred Sword, so we can tank that like an absolute champ with our Psychic subtyping. And let's see how much a Psychic Fangs does to a Terrakion. Actually does a huge amount of damage for such a weak move. Well, not weak, but you know what I mean, low power. In comes a Sacred Sword, we can tank that other one, and now we get to a second Psychic Fangs, leaving them double debuffed and maybe KOing. Let's see if this KOs. It KOs the Terrakion. Next comes in Hydreigon, so a bit of a tough matchup. We're just going to get off the Psychic Fangs and then get KO'd. Now they're debuffed, we feel pretty safe to come in with Kyurem and start Dragon Breathing away. We're doing super effective damage to each other, but our Dragon Breaths relatively are doing more damage because they're debuffed. In comes Flash Cannon, so we safely shield that up. In comes Zekrom. Now this is a very hard matchup for us. Zekrom has a great matchup against Ho-Oh. All we can hope to do is start debuffing, and maybe they'll let a Glaciate go, who knows. They know that both my moves are super effective, so they're not really going to let that go. Yet they don't let it go, unfortunately. They farm all the way down, and we're forced to come in with Ho-Oh. Ho-Oh has a very bad matchup here. Even though we have a shield, we have to shield that Fusion Bolt. It's a shieldless game now, so we need to get to a Brave Bird and then get to another charge move. This Fusion Bolt will still be doing some devastating damage. Gets us into the yellow. We're at the Brave Bird. It should be doing some good damage. Taking them out, obviously, they're so low. In comes the Hydreigon. Can we incinerate down? No. Good game. Moving into the next one, Solgaleo into a Mewtwo. So this is a bit of a bait-dependent matchup. If they want to bait and throw those Psy Strikes, that's great for us. But if they want to like build up extra energy and throw those Shadow Balls, that's bad for us. Luckily, we catch the Psy Strike. We're just going to build up some energy, throw the Psychic Fangs, but hope they think it's an Iron Head. They do not think it's an Iron Head. No shield that. Very smart play. We're going to shield up this time because we don't really know how many Psychic Cuts they're on. It's the Shadow Ball. So luckily we shielded. We're going to go straight for the Iron Head. They no shield the Iron Head. Down goes Mewtwo. What's going to come in next? It is the Dialga. So we're going to go straight for that Psychic Fang, start debuffing, and start ramping up those Fire Spins. We actually get the shield with the Psychic Fangs, which is great for us. Now we're in a very good position. We're going to shield this up, expecting the Draco Meteor. It's just the Iron Head, so we do shield up. Now we're going to go straight for another Psychic Fangs and debuff them again. Now our Fire Spins will be doing even more damage, really digging into this Dialga. We get to a third Psychic Fangs. Now our Fire Spins are doing very good damage. Look at that, just chipping away that Dialga. We have no shields left, so we have to let this go. It's going to take us out. Next, we come in with Ho-Oh and we feel very comfortable. They switch into Giratina, so we build up a whole lot of energy and make a quick switch into Kyurem. We know we can take this Shadow Ball like a champ, Rocky Balboa style, and take that Shadow Ball. Now our Dragon Breaths are really digging into that Giratina. Can we get to the Glaciate? We get there! This should be doing some nice super active damage, plus debuffing them. Can we farm down? Unfortunately not. We're hoping for an Ominous Wind here. Come on, fingers crossed. It's a Shadow Ball. Down goes Kyurem. But we're in a great position here. We can just farm down the Giratina, or we're going to throw the Brave Bird. But we will still have a huge amount of residual energy, and hopefully it's enough to get to a Sacred Fire. We get to the Sacred Fire, and this should be taking down the Dialga. Good game. In comes Sacred Fire. Takes down Dialga. Good game. Thank you all so much for watching. Please like and subscribe. More Pokemon Go content will be coming your way. I definitely recommend investing in Solgaleo, and until next time, have a good one.